What's happening, guys? This is Abhinav from PhoneBunch, and today we are reviewing the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1. 5000 mAh battery, 3 or 4 gigs of RAM based on the variant you choose. This is an exceptional smartphone at this price point, and I'll tell you why. And probably this is the only Redmi Note 5 Pro competitor that you should be looking at. Well, we'll get to that. But first, let's talk about the build of this device. So it's primarily built of metal. At the bottom, you'll find the audio jack, primary microphone, a micro USB data syncing and charging port, and the speaker. On the right, you have the volume rocker and the power button. Both are very sturdy, they are made out of metal. And yes, this phone has 3 slots. So you can use 2 SIM cards and you have a separate micro SD card slot here, while all the other devices here, including the Redmi Note 5 Pro, they have hybrid slots in this segment. At the top, you just have a secondary noise cancellation mic. Moving to the back, you have dual rear cameras, a 13 megapixel and a 5 megapixel camera there to capture depth effects. We'll talk about the camera later on. You have the fingerprint sensor on the back as well. The back of the phone is made out of metal again. It does attract a bit of fingerprints. It is not slippery, however, so the phone actually feels quite good to hold. It's about 8.5 millimeters in thickness, 180 grams in weight, but given that it has a massive 5000 mAh battery, it doesn't feel that heavy. It doesn't feel hefty at all. It's quite easy to use in one hand too. Now, if you look at that, that's a fingerprint sensor and it's working brilliantly. This one has face unlock as well, although I wouldn't recommend it because again, it's not as secure, but if you want to use it, it's there and it is quite fast. Do remember, it doesn't work that well in dark conditions. I'll always have the fingerprint sensor as a backup. It's actually quite fast now after a couple of updates. Now coming to the top of the phone, you have an 8 megapixel selfie camera, you have a proximity light sensors right there, you have a front LED flash there too, and yes, a notification LED. Now let's talk about this display. It's a 6-inch IPS panel. It looks quite good, it is quite sharp. It's a full HD plus display, so 2160 by 1080 pixels. Now I've compared the Redmi Note 5, the Redmi Note 5 Pro with this phone. Now both of those phones have slightly brighter displays. This one doesn't as much, but this has better contrast, so even when you are outside, it is visible. Yes, the front is glossy, so you do get reflections, but even with that, the display is quite visible outdoors, and I really did like that. Now let's talk about network and call quality. First, the things this phone doesn't have. This phone doesn't have dual band Wi-Fi, so you're just stuck with 2.4 GHz wireless, while the competitors actually do support the 5 GHz Wi-Fi band as well. And since this is running on stock Android, you don't have some of the call management features like call recording baked into the device itself, so you would have to rely on third-party apps. But the core call quality is really good here. I didn't have any issues with network reception here, and still keeping on call quality, even on the speakerphone, the calls were loud, they were clear, the other person was able to hear me quite well. Noise isolation and noise cancellation did work out pretty decently here. And if we talk about sensor, this phone has all of them. All the ones that you actually require. A gyroscope, magnetic field sensor for compass, pretty much anything that you require is there in the sensors section. Now I have taken this long to review this device just because of the camera. Asus has said that they will be sending out updates regularly to make the camera better, and boy has it worked. First of all, the camera takes images very quickly. The camera app has direct access to Snapdragon's image processing chipset, which really helps with that. And you can see even the bokeh effect really looks quite natural in some of the images, not all of them. The interface, however, could have been better. It takes 2 or 3 steps to do what you can generally do with a single tap on most interfaces, like turning on the flash, switching to video. These take 2 or 3 steps. It's not the easiest camera interface to move around, but look at these images. These are actually quite good. Some of these were captured in lower light, some of these were in challenging lights as well, and you can see even with those, the bokeh effect is really clear. The colors, yes, a bit oversaturated at times, but they still turn out quite well. What I've noticed is that the colors appear a bit warmer after the updates, but overall they still do look quite good. The images do seem a bit sharper than before, and the camera is able to isolate the main subject a lot clearer. Even in lower light, it does perform a bit better than before. If you talk about the selfie camera, it just gets the job done. It's not as good as the competition, especially compared to the Redmi Note 5 Pro, but the rear camera is still up in that segment. But with the rear camera, you can get pretty decent shots even in some challenging lighting. Now let's come to audio. With this phone, you get the Max box. I've already shown that in the unboxing. You can have a look at there. I'll have a link right up top. It does add a bit of depth to sound. It increases the volume a little bit. But let's face it, we are not going to carry it everywhere with you. So let's talk about the speakers on the phone. They are a bit on the tinny side. The volume has increased again with the latest updates. I'm very thankful for that. But still, they don't sound as full as they do on, let's say, the Redmi Note 5 or the Redmi Note 5 Pro. But one thing that is good on this phone is audio through the headphone jack. That is very loud, it is crisp, it is clear, it is absolutely undistorted. And you can really appreciate it if you have decent headphones with you. And moreover, with that 18:9 aspect ratio, videos really pop on this device. Especially with that great contrast, everything looks cheerful, it looks more lively. And speaking of being lively, this phone is running on stock Android, which makes it super fast. Everything opens up quickly, there's no memory hogging bloatware on this device, and you get stock Android 8.1 right out of the box with the April security patch. As I've said, the company has been updating this phone almost every week since launch. And yes, they have promised that it is going to be upgraded to Android P as well. So yes, those are some really neat things coming to a budget device. And well, you can see the speed. Everything opens up so quickly and it is kept in RAM because of the great memory management that came with Android Oreo, which, well, doesn't work that good with customized skins. But here with stock Android, everything works out great. You have better security, you have better performance, and well, great battery life. A 5000 mAh battery on this phone, it easily gets you through 2 days of use. And even with my heavy use, I had to charge this phone only once in 2 days. So battery life is really brilliant here. It takes about 2 odd hours to charge. It supports 2 amp fast charging, and you do get that charger. It's a 10-watt charger within the box. It's not the fastest charger, it's not equivalent to dash charge, but it will save your battery, meaning you'll have better battery life throughout the life of this smartphone. So folks, that was a review of the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1. It's really a very good device at this price point. I don't have any major issues apart from the camera on this phone. The rear camera does get the job done quite well. The selfie camera could have been better. I think it can be improved with some software updates, but overall, this is a great competitor to the Redmi Note 5 Pro. And if you were planning for the Redmi Note 5, I think you should just invest a bit more and get the Zenfone Max Pro M1. Well folks, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.